Hello and welcome to Space Engineers. It's been some time since I did an episode on this, and the new update is out with planets, so I thought, hey, why not? Let's have a look at this. And as you can see, we've got a planet here. Obviously, it looks a little bit enlarged because it's not really the size of an actual planet like Earth, but it is huge by comparison to the asteroids that we had previously. So I thought I'd start this off just by doing a bit of an exploratory episode. If you guys like this, it is a game after all very much like Minecraft, then feel free to let me know in the comments. If you like this and want to see more episodes of Space Engineers, like the video and we'll see how many of those come in and, you know, what we get going from there. So, what's happening here? Well, I've started a new world, and this is the Star System new world. It happens to be the hardest. There are easy start ones too, so if you want to start off without having to fly a lander in and, you know, potentially crash, then you feel free to start with the easy start worlds. However, I thought, why not? Let's go with a hard one, and we'll see where we go. Now, as you can see, there are lots of biomes in the world. You got snow, you got grass, you got rock, and there is desert-like environments as well, I believe, on different planets, you know, stuff like that. This is an Earth-like world, and we start in far above it. And above me is the horizon indicator. When I point at this, we are level with the horizon. Well, if I turn the ship a little bit, we are level with the horizon, and we're going to be dropping straight down because this ship, if you look on either side, has two fans. Fans don't really work in space. They are atmospheric thrusters, and we're not yet in the atmosphere. We just entered it. You see there? When they come on, you're entered in the atmosphere. But if you look at the speed on the bottom right of the screen, you'll see we're going quite fast, and it happens to be going quite fast down. So we're going to be looking for a landing site on our way down, and this is something that you'll need to do on your own when you're actually doing this. Do look out for flat areas, and that, where the crosshair is a flat area. It happens to be an ice lake. There is no water yet on the planets in Space Engineers, but there is ice, and you'll see, maybe you'll see on YouTube, you see those little dark spots on the icy surface. That's where there is ore. Easier to see on ice than it is to see on ground, particularly the green texture. I can't see them very well from up here. However, the other main advantage of ice is that it's flat. If you look at the mountains around us, well, some of the early stuff we're going to be doing is going to be in vehicles, and vehicles, half of them anyway, in atmosphere, are going to be wheeled vehicles. And yes, a mountain is not the easiest place in the world when you have wheeled vehicles. Now, I may not start this particular world. I'm just showing you the actual descent. I do actually have another one where there's a nice lake in there that I've already landed on. But it's useful to show you just how you actually land. So control is regularly using the mouse. You use the mouse to point. Q and E to tilt left and right. It flies much like a helicopter. So you see if I'm pointing below the horizon indicator, we're getting some thrust stopping us from dropping, and we're also getting some thrust forwards, which is why we're moving forwards. So to fly this, you're going to fly it somewhat like a helicopter. You know, I can tilt, and if I use space, I can use that to pulse the actual engines. We've only got atmospheric thrusters, the large ones anyway, going straight up. So we have to kind of tilt to get a bit more use out of them. We can, however, push W and S to decelerate the forward direction and accelerate the forward direction. And we have left to right as well with A and D. However, we don't have ones pointing up. So if we want to drop down a bit, we just turn off and we press C, and the atmospheric thrusters just turn off and we drop due to gravity. So as you can see, we're going into darkness now, and that's a significant part of the early game. Because you're on YouTube, you maybe find this hard to actually see. So I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see the landing legs. And I'm just going to thrust this way a little bit and just get my speed to drop so that I can actually put this down, and then we'll switch to our world where I've actually landed this, and it's daytime in that world. So just bear that in mind. Speed is very low now, and we're at 200 meters up, so let's just press C for a little bit, and every time we let go of C, we're going to get the inertial dampeners, if you like, to slow us down, so we're not going to hit the ground too hard. And as you're going down, just if we turn the actual craft, again, this may be hard to see now on YouTube because we're coming for a landing. You'll see when we go through the world. There is a ramp in front of us, so you want to try and stay fairly level as we're actually coming in. And then, you know, once we're actually down, then we'll sort that one out. But we don't, you see the reflection on the ground from the ice. Turn sideways, tilt up a little bit maybe, and then just drop down until we're on the ground. Nearly done. And we're down. Well, at least one landing leg is anyway. So that's how to get out or onto the planet from space. Let's go and take a look now at what we do once we've landed. And here we are, landed on a lake, and this time in the sunlight, so at least you can see this. So how beautiful it looks. I'm quite impressed. And those moons up there and planets up there, we can go to them. So even better. But once you land, there's a few things you should get on with doing. First of all, take off your helmet, press J, because you don't need a helmet on an Earth-like planet. And if you left it on, you would end up with oxygen depletion, and eventually you'd asphyxiate. That's right, in an oxygen-rich environment. So you want to take that off. And whoops, I don't want to press that. First of all, I'm just going to configure my character tools. I prefer to have these tools on the first 3 buttons. If you've seen my previous episodes, and even if you haven't, these are new. These are shortcuts to these buttons. So you can put them on your actual hotbar to make various things. We're going to get to those shortly. And then you're going to want to do a few things. First of all, if you get it back into your flight seat and go in, press K to get into the menu system. We're going to want to turn off pretty much everything that is going to use up power. So lights we could, but they use up so little power, I'm not too worried about those. So we're going to turn off the thrusters, the large atmospheric ones. We're going to turn off the small atmospheric thrusters because we don't need those either. We're down on the planet now. Do we need anything else? Some of the stuff we're going to be taking out. So the oxygen tank I'm going to be taking out, I think. Ore detector, yeah, we'll definitely turn that off. Medical room we have to leave on. We want to be able to respawn here. That's very, very useful. Let's just turn... let's leave those on for a minute. We're going to demolish them. And that's pretty much it for the moment. So once we've done that, our priorities, the LCDs do give you an actual idea of this. Locate source of ice, survey for ore deposits, find a base location, avoid pirates, build solar panels, construct a base, build additional refineries and assemblers, design and build a combat craft for defensive purposes, and there's one more down here that says you have enough for 6 solar panels, 2 batteries and 1 flight seat. Except we have more than that. And what we can do is demolish some things on this ship. One, we're in an Earth-like environment, and this ship only has those atmospheric thrusters. It doesn't have any of the other types, which means we can't get out of the atmosphere with this ship. And I would probably want to build a new ship anyway. If we just have a look at this ship, it is like a cube. And if you decide not to land on ice, that's entirely your prerogative. So if you land on a mountain like up there, feel free to do so. But if you accidentally disengage the landing gear or do anything like that, this thing will roll like a football all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. Be warned, I absolutely have not done that by accident while testing. So we can take apart some things from this ship. So let's have a look what we can take apart. First of all, the windows can go. We don't need those. Oh, my jetpack's on. That is one more thing. If you look at hydrogen down the bottom left, that couple of seconds of jetpack usage was enough to reduce our hydrogen to under 90%. The jetpack is next to useless on planets. Just gonna take the rest of these windows out while I'm talking. Next to useless, and is used really only for emergencies. If you get stuck in a mining shaft, and we're going to be, cutting into mountains and into the lake over there, it is going to happen sooner or later that you will end up stuck in a mining shaft. And having some of the jetpack on hand for those emergencies is useful. That was an air vent. We don't need air vent. It's we're in air. Let's just open the doors. Yeah, we've got a ramp down there. You may or may not have that ramp. Let me just turn the lights on. That'd be a bit better. That may be a bit far from the ground, so you might not want to jump down until you have at least some steel in your inventory to be able to build a couple of blocks down there if you need to get back up. So let's just take these LCDs out. We don't need those. And full credits to, I think it was a Wasted Spaces channel I saw this on, who does a lot more space engineers than I do for identifying all of these. So I just quickly use that guide. That was a timer block. We don't need that. There's a programming block under here. We don't need this either. Let me just dump some of this stuff. Press K to get into cargo can. I want to make sure I've got some steel plates with me. Let's get rid of this as well. I'm going to probably go even further than wasted space on this, so I'm going to take out this door. We don't need the door. And it has lots of components. I'm going to take out a couple of these wall blocks just so I can see out a little bit more. By the way, do let me know in the comments if you do like, I may have already mentioned this, if you do like and want to see more Space Engineers after seeing this, just watch the full episode first to get an idea of it if you don't already play it. It is very much like Minecraft in this fashion. Let me just take out some more stuff. I don't want this slope, and I probably don't want that one either, but I'll leave it for the moment. I don't want the oxygen tank. You can go, because we don't need an oxygen tank. That does mean it makes it a little bit harder to get into the oxygen generator. It's up here. Take a hydrogen bottle with you. That will refill your jetpack should you need it for emergencies. So just get that out of here, and again, just keep emptying the stuff out. Oh, not that. Keep emptying most of the stuff out of here. Then we want to just cut open some more stuff because we don't really need these plates, so I'm just going to leave them in temporarily. If I just go into all blocks, grab a light armor slope, that will do. Then I will then be able to rotate this and go up here and start cutting through the roof. And we can put in another ramp. And then cut through the windows. Or fall off the ship entirely. So this is a good opportunity to actually show you that sometimes I managed it, but if you get the ship wrong or a slightly odd attitude when you actually land, this may be put up further and you may not be able to jump onto it very easily. You could use the jetpack, but again, I just try to conserve the jetpack fuel as much as possible. So press 4, put a station block in place, like say, I don't know, let's line it up about here. And it's offset. Never mind. Don't need to be perfectionist for this. And then just ramp up to it. Don't have to weld them. And you can just walk up onto here. While we're down here, however, we probably should put another station block just about here. Another ramp. And then do the same thing to this ore detector. It's got many components in it, but we might want to use for smaller ore detectors on other ships. Strictly speaking, I could take one of these engines out because these are sideways engines, and the same on the roof, but I'll leave them alone for now. And let's head back into the ship and dump all of you. And have we cut enough? I think there's one more thing I want to do on the roof without falling off, hopefully this time. Well, first of all, cutting out these windows, but I'll do them off camera. That big front window. And if we go around the back here, and then look in here, there's the beacon. Now, the beacon is normally used to find this ship. That's most of the components. Let's just drop down. However, in this case, what I'm going to do is just step into the flight seat, go into K menu, go to GPS, new from current position. Lock is my other name, that most people won't know about, so let's just type that home. Go. And now home is here. In fact, right where the flight seat is. So I no longer need that beacon to tell me where this location is. Only if I was to move this ship, and I'm not going to bother. I can just use GPS coordinates for that. So let's go and grab that last of that beacon up there. In fact, can I jump across? Yeah, I can. And this will probably disconnect us and drop us into the ship. Yeah, it will. There we go. And I'm full again. So a lot of these components do take a lot of room. I am using the 10 times inventory size, and even so, a lot of these items use up a lot of room. So just bear that in mind when you're actually making these things. And we don't need the catwalk plate. And grab a small cheese tubes. I think that's pretty much everything that we can actually do in this first thing. I can take this out. I don't need that conveyor really because I'm not looking to feed stuff into the nuclear reactor, but I'm not sure if that actually is going to be attached to the sides. I think it's actually attached to this, so I'd rather not have a nuclear football. Different topic entirely. You can take out the lights if you want to, but they're only like one construction component. And now that this block isn't here anymore, I probably want to put in a regular block. I don't actually need to weld it up or anything. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything up here on the roof. Again, I could take out these two engines because we have those two on those side. There's no real moment of inertia, moment of torque. I can't remember the actual term for it, but it's not going to twist when we don't have these in the correct places, like on Kerbal Space Program or something like that. So it's not going to model accurately. Do make sure you don't shut down the medical station, otherwise you won't be able to respawn. You can do other things with the batteries too to conserve power a little bit more, but I don't need to do those just yet, so I'm just going to dump everything I have. And we're going to talk about what's important in here. Do be very careful around these blocks. These are batteries. You cannot grind these down properly. If you try, those power cells that you see on the right hand side, 120 of them, are going to turn into scrap metal, which is nearly worthless. In here, we've got 240, so we've got enough for 2 of those big batteries for this ship. However, there's already batteries on the ship, so we don't need to do that. However, we also have enough further down. We have solar cells. And those two are kind of your important materials. Of all of them, solar cells, maybe some of the bulletproof glass, are the really important ones because they're quite limited. At least to start, because we don't have any metals. All we have is what's in this cargo can and what's in this cargo can and what's on board the ship. We can do a lot with that though, so don't worry about it too much. And we can dump the automatic rifle if we want to. Maybe I should keep it with you just in case of pirates. Yeah, maybe. I've got it with me anyway. So, what we're going to need to do is, first of all, maybe make sure there's a power supply for this. How was the sun at? The sun does rotate, but I've got the day set to 8 hours at the moment. What I'll probably do is just reset it to like 10 minutes to get back into the next daytime, just so that you don't end up with YouTube videos of me messing around in complete darkness, which is unfortunately like the space bit of the Space Engineers when you first start. So I'm going to get that going. And hopefully we get a good amount of light while we actually do this. But the important part about the light is, because we don't have any uranium to start, and it's quite a rare metal, we're going to need to recharge using the light. So I want to put I want to build stuff, so let me just grab some construction components. I think they're needed for solar panels. And let's head up to the roof. And where do I have space to put these things? I could do with getting rid of those engines eventually, but if I don't fall off, that is. Is there somewhere I can put these without falling into the ship? Let me just put a couple of quick rough blocks down. And is there anywhere I can put these? I want them on this side of the ship first of all, so let's give it a go. On 8 we have them. And we've got to rotate them. Well, we've got to rotate them so that they fit more than anything else. I need to get up onto the engines maybe. Where is my ramp block? There we go. Can we actually put them on top of the engines, I wonder? Yeah, looks like... hang on, can we? Yes, we can. So I want them over here, maybe. Let's just rotate. And... can I get actually 2 of them on here? Can't put it there, can put it there, can put it there. So that's only 3 wide. It's a bit unfortunate. So I think I'll put it further across here. And... like that. That's 1. And I can't put the next one in. So what I'll probably do is flip this one around, put 1 there, and then we'll actually just weld them up. That's 2 to start, so we need solar cells, steel tubes, computers, and solar cells twice. No. Solar cells, computers, large steel tubes, and that's about it. So yeah. Solar cells, large steel tubes, construction components, computers. Solar cells we're going to get down here. That's going to fill up our inventory very fast. So let's grab some computers. Small steel tubes. And let's just fill it with solar cells and let's see how far we get. That's full. So at least when it's daytime, we should have... Oh, I'm trying not to fall off. We should have at least some recharging going on. And that's at least important to get going. You know, who cares? Oh, I need more large steel tubes, but I may run out of other components before I get there. And I need 2 large steel tubes. Nearly done. Hard to get too easily, I don't think. By the way, it's control click to get 10, shift click to get 100, and I can't remember what the other shortcuts are. I think there are more to get other quantities, at least maybe 1, but yeah, that's fine. So let's just fill this in, and this should get us first solar cell, and that's got 1 at the moment. We'll see how that goes shortly. Now once this comes up, we should get the same. And 1 there as well. In fact, there's 4, so maybe this will power up, but it's getting slightly blocked by this one, so let's see how realistic the model is. 2, that's a 3. Okay, is it actually blocking it whatsoever? The shadow would say so, but apparently this doesn't. 3. Okay, so yeah, it is partially blocking, but not accurately, but that's okay. What we could also do is maybe if I build up some... that's the exhaust, so I don't want to build something directly in front of that, but I could build something across here maybe and put some other ones facing the other way. I don't know if that's sunset or sunrise, however, so I need to just track the shadows and figure out which way it is. But again, you know, you can always turn the engines back on, lift up and rotate if you need to just get these into a better position. I probably want more than 2 later, but you know, I'm not too worried initially, so we get that out of the way. I do wish those fans would rotate, by the way, when it was on. Maybe someone will fix that with a mod, of which I have many, and I'm not going to cover them all in a mod list. There isn't exactly a sort of mod pack kind of community like in Minecraft. However, there are workshop mods by the plenty and collections of them to actually grab. So, you know, at some point I may well publish the ones I've actually got somehow. I will take a look at how to do that. And yeah, so we've got... At least we've got this ship in right order before we actually finish this episode. I want to keep these episodes fairly short with each one, just doing an initial concept. This one is just getting down on all the things you want to do to start off with. So I'll probably end the episode there, and next episode we're going to build a lander. Again, somewhat inspired by Wasted Space one, but I think I want to put some of my own touches on it. I've tested landers in my own, just by reproducing that exactly, and it's not quite what I want. So I think myself, I'm going to do some tests, and then I'll show you how to build that next episode. Mainly the tests are going to revolve around if I flip it upside down, I want to get back it the way I want it, and there's a few ways to do that, and we need maybe a better approach than I've seen on the existing ones, the buggies that I've seen. The other way you can do it, of course, is by having a flying rover. There's a buggy type that you can build that you can then, you know, drive around, or a flying one that you can hover over the atmosphere. And you can't really see out there, but there are dark spots in the ice over there. And the dark spots correspond to ore. And running out there and running back again is not something you want to be doing. You want to be having great fun ripping around the actual atmosphere in a buggy or a flying vehicle of some kind. So we're going to start off with a buggy and then maybe migrate to a flying vehicle. Certainly for the mining, I think. I need to do all this off camera. I'll grind this down off camera. Maybe make a few changes between the episodes. Anyway, short episode. Hope you liked it. And if you liked it, please leave a like. Do not let me know what your comments are. And we'll see you next episode.